I want to talk ever so briefly about how people throw the word worth around in terms of purchases to do with video games that are not full games, i.e. DLC, cosmetics, etc., right? I did something rather crusty recently that I feel absolutely no guilt towards whatsoever in regards to Destiny, right? I went and I bought one of the 2 available skins for the Whisper of the Worm, right? It was 700 silver, which translates to $7, but you can buy silver in groups of 5, so I spent $10 to get 1,000 silver. So even though I spent $7 on this weapon skin, I spent $10 in order to be able to get the skin. And I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about what feelings I got from that, and this and that, and I want to talk about worth. Because when worth is thrown around in regards to what I listed earlier, it's always in the package of, in the lens of, a video game costs $60. The video game costs $60, right? Based on that, we're going to talk about worth, right? First of all, just talking about the ornament in general, my mind was changed for Whisper from, say, the Rise of Iron emote ornament, which was $10, I believe. It was like 1,100 silver or something such. And that was something that, of course, I saw and went, no, it's not worth $10. It's a damn emote, right? You're going to do it, you're going to show off, whatever. But I wasn't mad at it. And the reason I wasn't mad at it is because the more I thought about it, the more I went, well, if you really are in a good enough position that you can spend $10 on this thing, and you like using it, and it makes you happy, and you want to, then I guess I don't see why not, you know? You're treating yourself. It's not worth that, but you're doing it anyway. Collector fans, right? The Diaclone reboot, Dia Battles, right? For us in the US, that thing costs like $140, or no, it was like $170 or something, and it's like 12-inch, right? It's a treat, but if you like it, and you're good with the fact that it costs as such, you're gonna buy it, right? So, that's how I always felt. I was never interested in that emote or anything, but here we are in Whisper of the Wormland. The reason I'm late is because I was actually away, and I just got back recently, so I went and got my Whisper, and I brought it back to the tower, and I went, I didn't even go look at it, I just thought about it. I went, I want that skin. I want the rock-colored one, you know, the Between Breaths one, not the Eris one. I want it, and I went and thought about it hard, and I went and did some more things for Solstice with my buddy Michael, and thought about it, and then I went back, and when everyone hopped offline, I went, I'm doing it, and I did it, and I felt great. But I think it's important to remove that, based on that, and this is an extreme example of that, this you know, skin, obviously, but to remove the game costs $60 from your judgment of a package if you want to buy it. So let's look at Expansion 2, for instance, right? There are people going, you are out of your goddamn mind if you are okay spending a third of the price in the game on a decent-sized location, several secrets, several long-winded exotic weapon quests, several different sets of collectibles that are all over the place, exotics just in the pool in general, crucible maps, new armor, a new endgame activity that's meaningful, that has a lot of replay value, another raid layer, 2 strikes. Right, you're out of your mind for thinking $20 is okay for that. Because it's a third of the game, right? Forsaken, people who aren't in the loop and aren't Destiny fans who are used to things like this, in 2015 we spent $40 on the Taken King, and it was fine and we felt great, right? Well, most of us are going, $40, that's almost the price of a full game. Why would you spend that on an expansion? And these are people who don't know what's in the expansion, right? But even so, I feel like if you limit yourself, now if you're just saying you don't like it, that's one thing, but if you're changing your opinion of buying something based on, oh, well, I spent this much for this and I'm getting less for this, even though this isn't that case, you're severely limiting yourself, I think. I'm going to switch to the Transformer lens. A lot of people do the same thing. Well, they go, well, I can spend, $15 is what a deluxe should be, and now I have to spend 20 on a deluxe. Deluxes used to be 15 back in the day, and now they're 20, and this is outrageous. I'm not spending $20 on a 5.5-inch figure. It's like, well, you're spending $20 on your 5.5-inch, 6-inch Marvel Legend that does absolutely nothing. Or you can spend it on this figure that has more impressive sculpts, figure to figure. There are some very impressive Marvel Legends these days, but, Machine Man costs $20, right? War for Cybertron Ratchet, or Ironhide, is going to cost $20. So, I don't know, I think that was just an interesting thing to think about, is always pricing things in your head relative to other things, rather than what you're comfortable with yourself paying for content that you are getting, be that physical or digital or whatnot. And the bottom line is, if you're really and truly not comfortable buying something because of the price, that's one thing. But if you are making yourself not comfortable buying it because you're comparing it to, well, I spent $60 to get 4 big destinations that are really dry and have nothing meaningful to do, and whatnot, then, I don't know, you might surprise yourself and you might enjoy it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Once again, ever so briefly, excuse shaky cam, I failed to discuss that whisper thing further. I think the reason I was so willing immediately to go ahead and buy that skin for it is because rather than the emote for Iron Banner, this weapon, for those who know in the community, just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was part of this really, really well-crafted quest, or mission rather, that had this big jumping puzzle with these really interesting angles and shapes and lines, and several new tracks of music just for this one mission, and some voice lines, and then of course afterwards you had to do a whole bunch of stuff, and then there was a time limit, blah, blah, blah. And for this weapon, right, you've got to know where to go and what to do. You've got to be able to do that and bring people with you that are also able to do that. And if they're not, you have to be able to compensate, right? If you're carrying, you have to be even better, carrying / soloing, right? And if you meet all those requirements, then your reward is one of, if not the most powerful weapon in the game, right? And I think the knowledge of all these things put together, just like the fact that this mission was totally free and it just came out of nowhere, and the fact that you have to be of such a high skill level to get it. There are very few people in the community to actually get this thing. In the grand scheme of things, Bungie just put statistics out, and there's about 200,000 people roundabouts have gotten this thing, out of like the millions that is their player base, so relatively small, and all those together, and just being proud of owning that weapon and knowing that we could be using this weapon for the next 2 years because it's so damn good. It's going to be like something really, really good is going to have to come out for it to get dethroned. But all those together, I think, is what kind of swayed me on making that purchase. And I knew that people seeing that on my back with the skin would still be like, oh, wow, look, he's got Whisper, if they weren't the people that got them themselves. And I just feel much better investing money into an investment I made personally that is a reward of my strengths and my knowledge, as opposed to buying just an emote, that is just purely cosmetic that doesn't showcase anything. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Again, I'm not against the emote. It's just not for me personally. I'm not going to spend $10 on an emote, I'm just, nah. But this I did. Okay, sorry for the shaky cam again. I just wanted to, I felt that was worth talking about and making an addendum for, so.